Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sally and this is Secret Life of a Seamstress, my channel where I talk all about sewing and knitting and basically making a handmade wardrobe along with sometimes some other crafts as well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I soak block my knitting. So this is something that I've been asked quite a lot to share on YouTube and I've kind of shied away from it so far because I know that I'm not an expert in this by any means. Blocking knitting is actually something that's quite new to me. In all the years that I've been knitting, I've never really blocked anything up until a couple of years ago, but I have to say that I'm absolutely converted to blocking. So if you're not familiar with the process of blocking and what it does, blocking, well basically there's a few different ways to block your knitting. You can soak block, you can steam block, and there are a few other ways as well. Today I'm going to be soak blocking. It all depends really on the type of yarn you've used to make your garment and the washing instructions that the yarn or the ball of wool that you're using gives you. Before you start doing any blocking, really you need to determine which type of blocking is going to better suit your garment. But the point of it really is that once you've finished your garment, blocking will set it into shape so you can resize your garment if it's come up a little bit small. The idea is that you will pin out your garment to the measurements given in your knitting pattern, and hopefully the steam or the soak or whichever method you're using will help to set your garment out to the right size. It also evens up your knitting stitches as well, so once your garment is all nicely soaked and dried, you'll find that your knitting will look so much neater. If you're blocking a lace or a cable knit garment, blocking really opens out the lace. You can pin it out really nicely, and then once it's all soaked and dried, it just kind of opens it all up and you can see all of the details in the lace so much more than you would if you didn't block your garment. So I'm absolutely converted to blocking now. So at the weekend I actually blocked one of my most recent knits, which is this one. It's the Zerolum sweater by We Are Knitters. So I recently spoke about this garment and said that it had come up a little bit small on me and I wasn't very happy with the sizing, but at the time I hadn't blocked this and I knew I needed to do that. So I thought this weekend, since we weren't doing anything, I would just spend some time blocking this out and I would film the process so that I could share with you how I do it. I actually have this lovely blocking kit which I received as a Christmas present last year, I think it was, and it's brilliant. So you'll see when I film the process what's actually in my blocking kit, but it comes with lots of lovely, easy to fit together foam pads, and then the idea is that you will pin out your garment onto those pads. So it comes with pins and a measuring tape and everything you need really to block your garment. So just in case you're interested and want to see a bit more about what I'm using, I'll link everything in the description of the video below. So onto the blocking process now, and this part of the video is going to be a little bit different because I filmed it at the weekend and I'm just going to voice over what I'm doing, and then I will come back and share with you the finished blocked garment at the end of the video. So you'll need some towels, your knitted garment, your choice of wool wash. I'm using this Knit IQ Delicate Wash. I love this one because you don't need to rinse it. You'll need a blocking kit. If you don't have a blocking kit, you can actually just use towels to pin your garment out on. You'll need a measuring tape and pins as well if you don't have the kit. You'll also need your knitting pattern so you can refer to the finished garment measurements. So you need to fill a sink or a bathtub or a basin full of lukewarm tepid water. Add a little bit of your wool wash and let it fill to just enough to cover the garment with. Once you've got your basin full of water, you can dunk your knitted garment into the water and cover it. This will feel really scary, but don't worry. So you want to make sure that the garment is fully soaked, but you don't want to agitate it or stretch it around too much. Just be really gentle with it. Once your garment is fully soaked, you want to remove it from the water and squeeze out as much of that water as you can. Your garment will feel really heavy, but just give it a really good squeeze around and get as much water out as you can. Once you've got as much water out as you can by squeezing, you want to lay your towels out on the floor and then roll your garment up, squeezing out as much more excess water as you can. I ended up doing this a couple of times before I was satisfied because my garment was really wet. So it in my blocking kit I got some knitting needles, a tape measure and around 9 blocking mats which you can fit together to make all sorts of fancy different shapes depending on the shape of your garment. As I said, you don't need to have this kit, you can actually pin out your garment onto more towels. Just make sure you've got a nice flat soft surface that you can easily put pins into. Once you've got your towels or your mats all set out, you just want to lay out your garment nice and flat on top of them. As you can see, I then decided to rearrange my mat so that I could fit my garment on a little bit better than it was. Once you've got everything laying as it should be, you then need to refer back to your pattern and the finished garment measurements and measure everything out to where it should be. You want to make sure the width and the height are correct before you start pinning, otherwise you'll need to unpin and restart again. It can take a little bit of time to get this right, but you'll get there in the end. It's finally done. So once that's done, you need to leave your garment to dry until it's completely dry. This can take 2 or 3 days. Mine took around 2 days, the whole weekend really. It depends what kind of yarn you're using, but it does take a while. The sweater is finally dry, so I can go ahead and remove all of my blocking pins. This part is so satisfying. I love doing this bit. So here's my sweater all finished and blocked, and I have to say it is looking a bit better than it did when I first finished knitting it. It's laying much flatter, the stitches all look a bit neater, and the neck is feeling a little bit wider as well than it did when I first tried it on. So I'm going to put this on in a minute and just show you how it looks so you can see what you think. But yeah, I'm initially very pleased with how it looks. It's funny how it works actually. It just looks so much kind of flatter and so much neater than it does when you've just finished knitting your garment. So yeah, it does make a big difference. So I'll just pop the sweater on for you so you can see how it looks like finished. Yeah, I am pleased with the changes actually that the blocking has made, because if you remember when I first put this on and shared it in a couple of videos back, the sleeves were really short, so they're coming up here. And I wish that I'd kind of lengthened them and added a bit on. But now you can see, now that I've blocked it out, it's coming right down to my wrist where it should be. So I'm really pleased with that, and yeah, it's feeling a little bit better. One thing I think I would do if I ever knit this sweater again is actually to block the sleeve pieces before I sew the whole garment together, because I did find it a little bit hard to stretch out the sleeves to get the right width of the armhole once it was all sewn up and I was trying to fiddle around and pin it out. You might have seen that actually in my footage that I filmed. If I'd have blocked it flat, that probably would have solved that problem before I came to sew the whole thing together. So I've learned that for next time. And if I ever do knit this again, I would definitely still size up, because even though I do think this fits me better now that I've blocked it, I still could do, I would feel more comfortable, I think, with a bit more space in it. But hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of the magic of blocking. I definitely feel better in this jumper now than I did when I first tried it on. So yeah, I'm really glad that I did actually take the time to block it. So I hope that's been helpful just to share how I block my knitting. Obviously this one was a soak block, and as I say, there are different methods of blocking. I actually got something else for Christmas this year that I'm going to be sharing in my next video, which will help me with another form of blocking. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you as well. If you are a knitter and you have any tips and tricks to share with regards to blocking in the comments, then I know I would love to hear, and I'm sure everyone else would as well. If you are new to my channel, I'd love you to consider subscribing. I post regularly, weekly, and sometimes twice a week as well. So take care everyone, and have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.